Welcome everyone to a game that's very close to my heart. This is actually a game I've played quite frequently and that I wish more people knew about. I bet most of you are familiar with Abe's Oddysee, but this is Munch's Oddysee. And I do hope you enjoy the world you're about to be welcomed into. So today I'm actually going to skip the backstory information. I would actually prefer if you guys pause this and watch the backstory provided. There's probably a much better version of it you can find on YouTube with New and Tasty, just to get an idea of where the world we're at is. But here's the introduction of Munch.
One time, there were lots of us. But that was all before there was any webs. Now, I can't find anybody. My name is Munch, and I've been singing for 'em ever since. But nobody sings back. Until last night. My loneliness was over. I found somebody.
As a kid, this always kind of like terrified me. Just his facial, like everything going on in this scene is just so strange. And I wouldn't say it super impacted me negatively, but I feel like this scene appeared quite frequently for me in my childhood, mostly just because I was an idiot kid who really liked to play the introduction of games, but something about it just is like mesmerizing in a way. I would always try to find little pieces of information that I could from it, but I never really got a solid grasp of what was going on. And the unrecognizable features of that alien spooked the shit out of me.
Then what happened?
They took him away to Viker's labs.
Oh, Viker's labs?
Poor little schmuck.
So you see, Stitch Lips, if you want to find your brothers, you've got to rescue Munch from Viker's labs.
Oh,
Yeah, but how?
I don't know. You got me.
Find the big well, and then...
Yeah, great. Let's go, guys. We're out of here.
Oh, I can never get what I need. This is too much stress and pressure.
I never fully understood how... Oh, I gotta change that. Oh, God. Just cut this out. So I never really understood what the hell the almighty raisin was about, because even going back to the previous games, they just straight up ain't there.
Almighty Raisin has sent me to help you. So listen up. If you're ever to find that one-legged Munch,
You know, I know what they're saying. They want me to find the dude from the beginning of the game. He has the one big leg. A little Easter egg for you folks at home. As a kid, I found that hysterical. You could not get me to stop playing this level, specifically, well, because it's actually one of my favorites. Being able to play as just as Abe, or just as Munch, is sometimes a little bit more solid than playing as both of them in the same map. I feel like some of the game is a little over-encumbering because of that, and I feel like we got more solo. If we got more solo levels with one or the other, it'd be a lot more fun. You get a little bit of that at the very end if you're on the good route, but it just seems like a lot of extra work for very little payoff. I'm gonna aim for getting the better ending, but I'm not super trying to get the 100% ending. I tend to do that a lot. It's pretty simple if you know what you're doing, but I think for the sake of viewership, it'd be better if I just kind of get like a medium amount of work on it, just because you guys don't want to sit here and watch me make sure nobody fucking dies, because that's always really lame. Granted, on some levels it's a lot easier than they intend. I already know how to play. So this game is a lot about, it likes to pretend it's strategy, but it's not really super strategy. You have a couple commands for your different guys.
Okay, little elbow grease, guys.
Yeah, whatever.
So you can get people to open doors as Abe, or ignore that dude. This is the strangest port of this game because it's a mishmash of the HD port that was on PS3 and the original. I don't know what Steam's doing. But I grew up playing the original Xbox game, and it was very near and dear to me at the time. Even now, I still kind of think back to this game, just some sort of the weird shit that goes on with the whole background and the universe.
You better stay here.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever.
The frickin' lore in this game is super deep, but it's hardly ever used. In fact, could we get like a fun fact per episode? The editor, who was surprisingly not me, the editor is actually super aware of what goes on in the background, and just some of the deeper lore. I know, here's your fun fact for this episode, I'll save you the time. The Mudokons studied a light magic energy, and the Gluckins, who are like the dudes in suits you'll see later on, they all studied dark magic and technology. Well, originally just technology, but the Mudokons advanced super fast out of nowhere because of their light magic. But the Gluckins, trying to get an upper hand, wanted to study dark magic, which then forever morphed them into the glowing-eyed bastards that you see today. And then okay, we don't fuck with black magic anymore. Oh god, I hate this camera. We don't fuck with black magic anymore. They got into sort of an era where they just started to make industry a thing. Which is where the series sort of takes off with Abe. Factories are rampant through the universe. You can't go a day without seeing one.
Hey, what's happening?
This is what I was talking about, where stuff gets strenuous with your extra teammates. If you guys think I should go for 100% saving, just tell me. I'm not above making differences and efforts for you guys.
Hey, you jumps.
Hey.
Okay, get to work.
I find the Spooshie in this game to be just a little bit pointless. I understand why it's there, just as a
Get to work.
sort of a currency and thing to use, but beyond that, I feel like it kind of hurts the flow sometimes, especially with like that first room where you're sitting there and just collecting Spooshie, and then you have to get 2 more. for some reason. I know it's to, like, give you some amount of economy when it comes to your troops, but this is a weird mishmash of game genres. It's kind of like Brutal Legend, how that game feels like it's going to be a hack and slash sort of platformer, and then it turns out to be an RTS. Well, this game is sort of like a soft RTS with heavy platforming.
How you doing? I'll be back. Don't you worry.
I gotta collect my boys! Unfortunately, it's not Saturday, so we can't say this for the boys, but I have not seen a Lady Mudokon yet. They are hatched from eggs, so maybe it's sort of an asexual thing. And this level doesn't feature too much combat. I do really enjoy the look of it. It is a little plain, but you got that lovely blue texture in the sky that you're gonna see a lot, but in other outdoorsy levels, it's not gonna be immediate. And that's what I think is really cool, is you're sort of taking back nature from an industry, which, let's be real, it's not super unheard of. But I think it's a lot more direct because it's more about a tribal sort of thing rather than just, oh, well, the environment sucks now. It's more about we need to survive rather than we need to be survive free than industry is poopy. This is exactly what I was mentioning before, by the way. I had to collect a bunch more Spooshy, which I don't remember what that button is on this. There we go. I had to get 9 more. This has always been a bit of a hard one for me as a kid. I didn't really think around how to do this. I kind of just would go at it, but I mean, even now I still kind of fuck it up. But that's besides the point.
Okay, little elbow grease.
Okay, I really wish you could just use that. I meant to press A. But it'd be very nice if I could just tell them to do the work without having to worry about them not doing the work. I do actually really like the fact that this is an early 3D game. This is from the Xbox era. So not like super early, like in 64, but it was definitely, especially for the company that was making it, Oddworld, an experiment in 3D technology, which is really cool when you see them really pushing camera angles. They're not always the best, like the one you saw previously. Like, this one's even kind of shaky, but it really does play into the sense of, we're in the future now. Isn't that cool? Granted, I gotta skip right to 3D growing up, but it's still always fun to see where people kind of started on this. Oh, you know what? We are gonna see a little bit of what I was talking about. See how the clouds are kind of gray and reddish? Red's usually the color of industry, and so is green. Less so on the green. Like, it's more of like a brownish green, but here we're sort of taking back the landscape. On our way to Big Well, guys. Now you may be wondering, how do I get the boys back? Well, my frogmen got teleported, so I only had to handle these lads.
You just hang here for a while.
And I'm gonna speed up this process of walking down this hill by just tossing them down.
Okay, listen up. Hey. Oh, yeah.
One thing that's really fun for me in this game is the fact that the music really ramps up when you have a team going. And for every one of your members, you get sort of a new instrument into the lineup. You can sort of hear it right here. I'll give it some air.
Okay, little elbow grease guy.
And later in the game, you're gonna hear like really harsh instruments, more drums going on. It's really quite beautiful.
You just hang here.
Oh, no. And any general worth his salt would know is to join in on the fight. I may want to change up these buttons, because mashing thumbstick is not very great. Gamer. So one thing that is actually really important to the franchise after the second game is the express, like the drinks. It was originally introduced as actually a negative mechanic where your Rudokins would sometimes be addicted to the soda. Oh god, okay. This is a glitch that happens. I had to wait for the countdown timer to end on this, so insert funny meme.